Hey, what's up, podcast universe? This is Dayton with Resonate Recordings. Today we're going to be talking about the Aston Stealth. This is a microphone made by Aston Microphones. It's really unique, kind of an interesting mic, a little bit different. I'm going to talk about some of the features of the microphone, what I like, what I don't like about it, and we're also going to put it up against some other industry standard broadcast microphones. So like a lot of other broadcast microphones, the Aston Stealth is a dynamic cardioid microphone. It is a end-address microphone as well. So it has really good off-axis rejection, just like the RE20 or the SM7B, which makes it a great microphone for recording an interview or, a podcast. So the Aston Stealth has a couple of really unique features that most other microphones don't have. For one, it has 4 voicing modes. V1, which is ideal for male vocals. V2, which is designed for female vocals, G, which is designed for guitar, and D, or dark mode, which is kind of like a ribbon setting. Another cool feature of the Aston Stealth is the mic clip that comes with it. It's got kind of this interlocking key design that goes onto the bottom of the microphone, and it snaps in, and this will thread onto just about any boom stand. Keep in mind that these voice modes are not simple EQ curves, but they're actually 4 discrete circuits within the microphone. So you get 4 microphone sounds in one, which is a really unique design by Aston. Now, one issue with dynamic microphones is that they have a relatively low output compared to condenser mics, which are powered by 48 volt phantom power. Aston has designed this microphone with an internal preamp built in. So basically this microphone can work in both active and passive modes. So it basically has a built-in gain device, kind of like a cloud lifter or a FET head, which is really cool. It gives you up to 40 dB of gain. So the Stealth is a pretty heavy microphone. It's pretty big. It's about the same length as a Shure SM7B. It's built pretty solidly, and it does have an internal shock mount. So actually, if I shake it, you can kind of hear it rattling around in there, which is a really cool design. It doesn't have a lot of mic handling noise that you get with some other dynamic microphones. It has a built-in pop screen filter as well. So I'm going to talk about some of the things I like about the Aston Stealth. One feature that I love the most is the internal preamp. That's a really cool feature because most of the podcasters that we work with that are using dynamic microphones, we recommend an external gain lifting device such as a FET head or a cloud lifter because of the low output of dynamic mics, but the Aston Stealth has that already built in. The 4 voicing modes makes this a really versatile microphone. Even though for podcasting, I really only recommend using V1 or V2 as the dark mode was a little bit too dark in tone, and the G mode just doesn't sound great on the voice. If you're into doing music production, this microphone has a lot of other applications as well. You can use it on percussion instruments, guitar cabinets, acoustic guitar, nylon string guitar. And for a microphone with so many features, having 4 voices, it's basically like 4 mics in one, and it's only $379.99. So when you compare it to microphones that are in that price range, you really do get a lot of bang for your buck. So if you're looking for a microphone that is reasonably priced and it's very versatile, this is a great mic for that. So one of the things that I didn't like about this microphone was the internal pop screen filter didn't seem to work very well. I recorded a male narration as well as a female narration, and on both recordings, the plosives seemed to pop pretty hard on the microphone. So if you use this mic, I definitely would recommend a pop screen filter. Another thing about the microphone that I didn't really like that much was switching between the 4 voicing modes was rather difficult. Aston designs the twist ring in a way that makes it hard to switch, and that's because they don't want you to accidentally bump the mode in the middle of recording, which sounds like a great feature, but actually it makes it really, really difficult to switch different modes on the fly. And in the middle of a session, when I'm working really fast and I need to track voiceover really fast, I found that to be very cumbersome and less than ideal. Another thing that I didn't like about the Aston Stealth is the mic clip itself is rather small. And even though it holds the microphone really well, the mic is so heavy, I found it to kind of droop a little bit, and so I had to tighten the boom arm really, really tight, which was a little frustrating to get it up and running. And it worked fine, but I found that to be a little cumbersome. So we conducted some tests on the Aston Stealth, recording a male voiceover and a female voiceover. So we recorded these tests with the internal preamp engaged on the Stealth running into an Apollo 6X. And for the RE20 and the SM7B, we ran those mics through a cloud lifter and matched the gain. So here's what those clips sound like.
But once the tree stood in its place, Mr. Willoughby made a terrible face. The tree touched the ceiling, then bent like a box. "Oh, good heavens," he gasped. "Something must go." But once the tree stood in its place, Mr. Willoughby made a terrible face. The tree touched the ceiling, then bent like a box. "Oh, good heavens," he gasped. "Something must go." But once the tree stood in its place, Mr. Willoughby made a terrible face. The tree touched the ceiling, then bent like a box. "Oh, good heavens," he gasped. "Something must go."
But once the tree stood in its place, Mr. Willoughby made a terrible face. The tree touched the ceiling, then bent like a box. "Oh, good heavens," he gasped. "Something must go." But once the tree stood in its place, Mr. Willoughby made a terrible face. The tree touched the ceiling, then bent like a box. "Oh, good heavens," he gasped. "Something must go." But once the tree stood in its place, Mr. Willoughby made a terrible face. The tree touched the ceiling, then bent like a box. "Oh, good heavens," he gasped. "Something must go."
So after doing some blind tests with our team of engineers at Resonate, we actually voted on the SM7B as the winner in this particular test. That was mostly because they sounded the most natural. The RE20 was close behind. It gives you more of like a radio in-your-face sound. While the Aston Stealth did not sound horrible, we found that there was a high-end boost in the microphone that just didn't sound as natural. Now that doesn't mean the Aston Stealth is a terrible mic by any stretch, but when you're putting it up against some of the more well-known industry standard microphones, we felt like those performed much better for male voiceover and narration. And I also had to use a pop screen filter on the Aston Stealth because the internal pop screen filter did not do a good job at all at catching some of the hard plosives, especially from the female voice. So that was kind of a big issue. That's our review of the Aston Stealth. And while there's some other podcast microphones that we would probably pick ahead of it, it certainly does a pretty decent job. And this is a microphone that's very versatile. It's got a really innovative design. It has some things that's never been done before in any other kind of microphone. And if you don't want to spend the money for an external cloud lifter, or you don't want to deal with any kind of gain device like that, this microphone has that all in one package. So if you're looking for a versatile mic, this could be a great mic for you. So keep in mind, we just did this on one test and one application. So if you want to give it a try, you can go buy one and put it up against other mics that you have and see what it sounds like on your voice. And if you have any questions about how you can improve the quality of your podcast, you can just reach out to our team. Thanks and happy podcasting.